Halloween is one of the most popular holidays around, but it's becoming an excuse to spend a lot of money. From expensive boo baskets to massive hauls to people who are dressed like a guy who couldn't unwrinkle his shirt. That's me. We're seeing this type of consumption everywhere. So today we're gonna look into this Halloween consumerism, but it's going to get progressively worse. The first stage of our journey is Halloween overproduction, which I think this is the start of the Halloween overconsumption funnel. And what I'm talking about is the massive influx of decorations, products, and costumes that happens when we start approaching Halloween. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. And look, as much as I love walking into Walmart and seeing little goofballs like this, there's something to be said about the massive production of Halloween stuff going on. Specifically how so much of it is super cheap and how a lot of it just gets thrown away. The NRF reports that Halloween spending hit $13.1 billion in 2025, which is double what it was in the early 2000s. I don't know math that well, but I would say that's probably some form of an exponential increase. Maybe, I actually don't know. But here's a little caveat that I want to add. I don't think that the amount that we're spending is necessarily the problem, but I think it's more what we're spending money on. Like I said a minute ago, we're spending money on extremely cheap products and they're just dumb and weak, and sometimes they are just really ugly looking. Like, what is this? If I see this in any of your front yards, you're canceled, all of you. All of you are gonna be canceled. And I think one of the issues with this, specifically overproduction, is that people like buying cheap stuff because it feels like we're spending less, which overall you probably end up spending more anyways because you're replacing the cheap stuff that you bought, but you know, whatever. So it seems like as a culture, we're getting further and further away from high quality and sustainable products.
I was shopping at the at-home store. Their prices are so expensive here. Like, I feel like it's astronomical. Like, this big pumpkin, I think, was about 80 bucks. Even like Hobby Lobby and Target, the prices are so expensive for their holiday stuff. They need to lower.
But like I said, this is the beginning of the Halloween overconsumption funnel. It all starts at the overproduction of products, specifically really cheap, really bad, terrible, cheap products. Things just really start getting worse the further along in the funnel we go. Let's move to the second part of the funnel. Boo baskets. If you don't know what a boo basket is, it's pretty much a gift basket with Halloween themed goods that you give your kids or partner or whoever you want to give it. The troll that lives under the bridge, you can give it to him. He'll probably appreciate it. Which on its surface, that sounds really nice. It sounds really wholesome. I mean, actually, I gave my wife a boo basket this year, and you want to know what I put in it? This. Nah, I'm just kidding. I actually gave her this. I'm kind of a gift giver, I've got to say. I do think it starts to become an issue though when we spend an excessive amount of money on boo basket. In some cases, it starts to look like Christmas with a spooky font.
Trust me, you've never seen a boo basket like this before, and it's mine. Let's unpack it. First, we have this cutie little pumpkin. This is the cutest thing I've ever freaking seen. Baby goldfish, of course. Native toasted vanilla and honey body wash. A new Sticky Dates Lush hair primer. Then this fancy big blanket. This cutie little sweater.
This video goes on for about 3 more minutes, and it's mainly just her showing us what's in her boo basket. And it's not like she spends a super long time on products. She's pretty much just like,
here's this Halloween thing, I really like it.
And then she'll move on to the next product. One more thing too, and this is probably gonna get me canceled, but I don't think you should be allowed to call it a boo basket if it doesn't look spooky. That basket does not look spooky in any way. And maybe you're wondering how much this behemoth boo basket costs. Maybe you're dying to know. Maybe you're just filled to the brim with spooky because you want to know so bad. Well, you don't have to cry at night anymore because her sister actually made a video of her putting the boo basket together.
Bro, my heart is racing. Can you relax?
You can open them. I'm surprising my sister with the boo basket of her dreams.
So you saw it, I saw it. We all had a fun, grand time seeing it. This basket right here is $1,500. It's a boo basket. I feel like that's more than most people spend on Christmas, which to be fair to this creator, her name is Perfume Siren. She got this basket for her sister because her sister was having a terrible month and she just wanted to cheer her up. And I think that's a pretty fantastic sister. So I want to be clear, I'm not hating on her. I'm more specifically talking about the principle of spending a lot of money on a boo basket. It seems like things like this have just become another excuse to spend money on products. In many cases, cheap items or things that will just get thrown away. Both not great, both pretty not great. According to experts, average boo baskets often exceed $100, with many examples exceeding $200. And it's not always cheap products that are in these baskets too. I mean, it's really anything. You can find things like blankets, books, perfume, and whatever this is, I actually have no clue what this is. At first I thought it was a paintbrush, but then I didn't see like bristles or anything, so I have no clue. What is this? And really you could chalk this up to just a personal preference, but one of my issues with this too is the emphasis on quantity over quality.
Boo basket? Look at this. My mother made this for me, Hannah. Let's see what we got. Oh, what we got? A little kitty. We got this. Candy kittens. We got These cups. Got bath bombs. Pajamas!
Big Halloween night now.
Oh, they're cute, aren't they?
If I'm being honest, I do love the idea of a boo basket, okay? I'm a boo basketer, and I do think it's very nice and loving of her mom to get them this boo basket. I think that's great. But at the same time, I feel like there's just a lot of cheap stuff. Like these cups, which I imagine have very limited use. I don't think either of them are gonna walk into the office on a cold December morning waving around a cup that says boo with a wizard pumpkin guy on it. Call me crazy, I just don't see that happening. There's also these pajamas, and they just seem very cheaply made, which I guess is fair because at this point in time, I imagine all of the elves are working on Christmas, so they probably send the little gremlins to work on the Halloween stuff. It's just how it is. I don't know. I don't know how the North Pole workforce works. And while I could spend forever talking about cheap plastic cups and boo baskets, I do want to move on to the next part of the overconsumption fund. This is what I consider the second worst part: Halloween-themed restocking. You've probably heard of normal restocking, which is where people will restock fridges with insane amounts of food or drink, sometimes spending thousands of dollars, and sometimes they feel really, really goofy and they do things like this. That's right, Diet Coke fridge. Anyways, people are now making restock videos, but for Halloween. So right off the bat here, you can see that this might be just a little bit crazy. They're going a little crazy with the candy here. I also didn't realize that there were Halloween fortune cookies. I don't know why, but that seems a little bit cursed to me. I feel like I shouldn't be seeing it. I don't know why, it's weird. But I'll admit, I don't think Halloween restocking is nearly as bad as normal restocking, specifically because it seems like these Halloween items will replace what you normally buy instead of adding to it. I think there's also something to be said about pouring soap out of the container that it's already in and pouring it into a new container. It seems a bit wasteful, but I mean, I guess at some point you're gonna have to throw away the soap container anyways, so I don't know if it really matters. However, if this was just a one-time thing for creators, I probably wouldn't think too much about it. I'd be like, whatever, you know, do your thing. But for many creators, this is a reoccurring type of content. I've seen creators where they have multiple restock videos or they have whole accounts for restocking. So it seems like for some, it's not just a one-time thing. And when a creator starts to make more of these videos, I feel like it starts to get into that overconsumption territory, which some of these videos I just struggle to justify. Like, I don't know how I can be like, oh, that's fine. It's not overconsumption, you're cool. I don't know how I can do that. What was that? Why did the hand go, whoa? I don't mean to be nitpicky here, okay? I don't mean to be a little nitpicky Joe, but I don't think hands make that sound. But what really gets me about these videos is the endless amount of snacks that they have. Let me tell you, you're never gonna have to worry about running out of processed food in this house. You'll never have to worry about the fear of waking up in the middle of the night, craving factory goop, and then not having any. You're safe from that. You don't have to worry anymore. But I think the wildest part of this video is this. Guys, what is going on here? She's putting Stanley Cup shaped ice in the Stanley Cup, then surrounding it with a very interesting collection of snacks. I feel like this is a couch rotting loadout if I've ever seen one. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like all these snacks make me feel a little bit nauseous. There's so much factory goop in this one image alone. And let me be clear, I actually like all of these foods. I'm not immune to the processed food craze, and I don't want to act like I am. But one thing I can proudly say is that I don't eat all of these things out of a food holder attachment on a Stanley Cup. Also, what are these? They look gross. Why are they so shiny? Anyways, I want to move on to what I think is the worst part of the Halloween overconsumption funnel. Halloween hauls. So just like normal life, non-spooky days, there are hauls specifically for Halloween. I like to consider this type of content peak consumerism because the whole point of this content is to show off things that you've bought. And oftentimes, these hauls are really a mix of everything we've talked about so far.
Your girl just came back from Spirit Halloween, and this is probably the biggest trip I've ever done. I spent so much money, so to make it worth it, I'm gonna do a haul for you. Ghostface jersey, it was the last one. It had the chrome knives. Got this jack-o'-lantern sweater vest. Look at these knife clips. Shut up. These are so cute. This Chucky clutch. Need I say more?
So I got this coffin bag that's velvet on the outside and on the inside. I only got 3 bags, okay? This is a Sam bag. I picked up my Sam mask. I've always wanted one so I could dress up like him, and also picked up some of his props. And these cute Hufflepuff bows. I wanted 2, but they only had 1.
I didn't include everything here, but it seems kind of crazy to buy all of this stuff for one holiday. It's not even a bunch of different things. It's a bunch of the same things that look different. Like she said, she got 3 bags. That's more bags than I've had in my entire life. Actually, I think I've legitimately been using the same wallet for the last 10 years. It's been through multiple tours of duty in my pocket, and honestly, it's gotten stronger each time it's come back. But there are a few different issues I think that are presented with content like this. The first one obviously being that waste can come from this. I mean, when you're buying so many products, you're bound to throw some of it away, and the more you buy, the worse it gets. There's also the algorithm perspective of it, where this type of content gets more engagement, so it's pushed more, and then hauls like this become normalized. I mean, there's a whole genre of content that is just hauls, so it's a pretty big thing. But it's one thing to buy decor and stuff like that, things that you can use at the same time, or at least have effective uses for. But while researching for this video, I discovered another kind of haul that I think might be the worst of all: costume hauls. I feel like the problem with this is pretty obvious, but that is so wasteful. I don't know why you need so many costumes. Like, Halloween is one day a year. And I get that there's Halloween parties and stuff, which I've yet to be invited to any of them yet, so just throwing that out there, okay? But even with all the parties and stuff, it seems like it's probably a waste to have this many costumes. And you know what's gonna happen to those costumes? They're probably gonna get thrown away. Maybe, I don't know. And even if they don't, we can talk about adding to the microplastics load through washing them, or also even disposing of them. But I won't talk about that because it's kind of boring. I just wanted you to know that it exists. It's a I just wanted you to know that. But I do think there's a way to get back to what I consider the fun and wholesome side of Halloween. Like I mentioned before, Halloween retail has doubled in the last 20 or so years. It seems like Halloween is becoming more about buying things than experiencing them. But I don't think that being happy, specifically during Halloween, means buying more things, getting more costumes, or even having nauseating Stanley Cup loadouts. It's so gross. I don't like it at all. I actually think that Halloween can become a less cluttered, more meaningful holiday. Maybe that means reusing decor a family member gave us, reusing a costume in a creative way, or going back to the days when we would carve pumpkins with friends. And maybe by doing that, we'll realize that the real Halloween treat isn't the checkout line, but it's the memories we make with friends. Look, now that's cliche, okay? I'm aware of that. But I do think there's truth to it. Which, actually, talking about the Halloween overconsumption funnel reminds me a little bit of how people go from normal to overconsumption to hoarding, which I talk about more in this video right here. So go ahead and check that out. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.